Hi, I'm Sarah, film and television editor, but I also have a baking business called Lucky Treats. Boop, 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 boop. It's Thanksgiving, the best holiday of the year. Food, football, fun. So I thought we'd make a classic bourbon pecan pie.
Pecan pie. Pecan pie. Pecan pie. Pecan pie.
So with any pie, you can make your own dough from scratch, which I'm telling you is super easy. Or, and don't be ashamed, you can buy your dough already made. If you make your dough at home, I would make it the day before, 2 days before, leave it in the fridge, then it's ready to go. Let's start baking. Let's make the dough. 2 cups flour, 2 tablespoons granulated sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt, whisk, 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 1 cup butter cold and cut into cubes. Blend the butter with the flour until you get small grain-like pieces. Squish them between your fingers. Squishy, squishy, squish. Squishy, squishy, squish. 3 tablespoons of cold bourbon. Squishy, 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 squish. Then add 1 tablespoon of cold water at a time until the dough comes together. Take your time. Don't make the dough too wet. Squish, 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 squish. And a ball of dough. Divide the dough in 2 equal pieces. This recipe makes 2 pie crusts. Wrap each round of dough into plastic wrap and flatten into a disc. Ta-da! Chill for at least 2 hours in the refrigerator or up to 3 days. With the extra dough, I made these little decorations. They're perfect to decorate this pie or any other pie, or you can put it on any dessert. Put it on some ice cream. It's an extra little tasty. Okay, the dough has chilled, so let's roll it out. Roll it, roll, roll, roll it, roll. Roll, 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 roll it, roll. Roly, roll, roll, roll it, roll. Roly, roly, roll. That looks a little bigger than 10 inches. Do what you feel and whatever works for your pie dish. Carefully place the dough in the pie dish. Oop, that's a little uneven. All right, move it around. Push down the center. Then tuck the edges underneath and shape the dough. That's definitely a homemade pie. Take a fork and poke a few holes in the bottom of the crust. Refrigerate the crust for at least 20 minutes. Boop. Turn on the oven to 350. Put an empty baking sheet in the oven. Let's make the filling. 3/4 cup of maple syrup. 1 tablespoon of flour. Mix, 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 mix. Mix, mix, mix. A cup of light brown sugar packed. Whisk, whisk, whisk. A 1/4 cup of butter, melted and slightly cool. Whiskey, whiskey, whisk. 2 tablespoons of bourbon. Whisk, 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 whisk. You could use any bourbon of your choice. I love this bourbon. Saplings Maple Bourbon. You can only find it in Vermont, but it's delicious. Take a trip to Vermont. Why not? You can also taste it while you're baking. 3 eggs. Boop. 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 Whisk, 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 whisk. 1 teaspoon vanilla. Boop. Boop. Whisk, 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 whisk. A half a teaspoon of salt. Whiskey, whiskey, whisk. 1 cup of whole pecans. Mix, mix, mix. Pour into chilled pie crust. Then use the other cup of pecans to decorate the top of your pie. You can decorate however you want. Boop, 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 boop. Whisk up 1 egg and brush on the edge of your pie crust. Time to bake. Bake for 45 to 55 minutes, or just until you get a slight wiggle in the center. Perfect. Pecan pie is done. So I cut myself a slice. Look at that deliciousness. Time to taste. Got my fork, got my pie. You gotta get the crust, you gotta get pecan, you gotta get the goo for a perfect bite. I got it all. This is the best pecan pie I've ever had. And it has the perfect hint of bourbon. Yum. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at lucky.treats. Happy baking and pie eating. One more bite. Happy Thanksgiving.